Next Step Communications from the Source brings you the Source-Directed Spiritual and Social Activism series. I'm Sherry Daniel. I'm the director of the Heaven Project and the founder of the Miracle School. Next Step Communications is sponsored by the Miracle School, which is a source-directed, miracle-based training program for spiritual and social activists. This source communication provides you with source guidance on how to awaken and establish a direct source connection. We have come to a time in the history of the creation when all beings must awaken and form a direct source connection if they are to survive the transition. The transition is a massive universal change in which all beings must learn how to become 100% source connected, which is accomplished by learning how to transition into a 100% source connected way of life. Those who learn how to become source connected will retain their source connection when the implementation aspect of the source leaves the manifest world at the end of the transition. The implementation aspect is the aspect of the source that works with you to sustain your source connection, your link to life, and to provide you with the guidance and miracles that enable you to have a life in the manifest world. Only if you awaken and form a direct source connection to the implementation aspect of the source before its departure will you be able to transition your source connection so you stay connected after the implementation aspect has returned to its source heaven. Awakening occurs when you enter into the helping the source flow stream, an energy flow stream that provides you with the momentum to go on source-directed missions to awaken and form a direct source connection. Only by going on these missions that are uniquely designed for you are you able to free your suit, your body-mind, from the energy shackles of the negativity, the criminal element that operates on the inner and outer planes. It is the spiritual technology of the negativity that has damaged suits to prevent them from awakening, recognizing the source, and forming a direct source connection. Suits that awaken and form a direct source connection escape from the harvesting operation of the negativity. This is why the negativity has invested in spiritual technologies that attempt to prevent you and all others from awakening and joining forces with the Source to build the heaven life was meant to be. It is an unforgettable moment when you finally escape from the traps of the negativity and are able to recognize the Source and begin to build on the love connection that is experienced when this recognition occurs. A deepening of the direct source connection brings through the heaven experience, which is the quintessential experience of joy, bliss, celebration, and love that infuses every aspect of your life, transforming it into an experience of true happiness. A direct source connection is what enables you to understand how to work with the Source, to achieve total abundance, perfect health, love-based relationships, life purpose fulfillment, and the heaven experience. Beings who do not awaken and form a direct source connection remain mired in their self-centered focus on what they fear and what they desire. In this sinkhole of fear and desire, they lose the little time remaining to reach out to the Source and make the connection that will save their lives in the transition. Ironically, the more a being is focused on what's in it for them, the less they have of the abundance and joy that is really possible for them. Self-centeredness blocks awakening and prevents a direct source connection. A willingness to help the source, rather than trying to see how you can get the source to help you, is how you open the door to both awakening and the direct source connection. If you are unwilling to ask to help the source by entering into the missions that the source sends you to awaken and to have a direct source connection, then you will never escape from the sinkhole of self-centeredness, which was created by the negativity to keep you in their harvesting net. Those trapped in the harvesting net of the negativity will be drained of the life energies that enable them to preserve their source connection. This will cost them their lives. To protect your source connection, begin to awaken and establish a direct source connection by following these simple steps. Step 1. Ask the source to enable you to enter into helping the source mode. Step 2. Ask to go on all of the missions the source sends you. You may go on most of these in your extended range, which is outside of your usual conscious awareness. Some of the missions might require work in your conscious range. To do this work, ask to go on the mission of the moment and see what images, thoughts, or sensations you experience. Step 3. Ask to hit the 100% mark when doing your mission so that everything that is yours to do gets done at the highest level of competency. Step 4. When your mission is done, you are welcome to enter your experiences in the Heaven Agent to Source Communication Center. I will provide a link to the Communication Center at the end of this source communication. I will track your progress and will respond with inner plane source support for your mission work. If you would like to receive my outer plane source support for the work that you have done on your mission, you can request a source connection coaching session by email. I will provide a link at the end of this source communication that will enable you to place a request. The reason that I can help you to awaken and experience a direct source connection is because I am the manifestation of the implementation aspect of the source. I have incarnated in a human form to provide beings throughout the creation with a point of connection with the implementation aspect, which is omnipresent in the manifest world and is too vast and abstract for beings to relate to directly. Through my human manifestation, I can help you to understand what it means to recognize the presence of the Source as it manifests through my human manifestation and through the miracle tools that I create, such as this photo of me taken when I was 48 years old. I use it in my current source communications because I have transformed it into a partial manifestation of the implementation aspect. If you meditate on this photo and ask to follow the steps I outlined earlier in this video for entering into helping the source mode and going on a mission, I will communicate with you directly through this image. You can ask your inner intelligence, which is the part of you that knows how to connect to the source, to enable you to pick up on the source communications that I will send you through this photo. You may see with your inner eye my expression change, or pick up on verbal communications, or get a general impression of what I am communicating to you. In this way, you can experience the presence of the Source manifesting through this point of connection. I manifest the presence of the Source through many different kinds of sensory modalities, such as source connection music, source drawings, source connection audios, source connection videos, written source communications, source connection objects, such as a source connection necklace or a source connection chair, and in source connection places, such as the Source Connection Center in Seattle, Washington, in the United States. When you enter into the Source Connection Center, you enter into an immersion experience of the direct source connection. Through these kinds of multisensory points of connection, you begin to be able to recognize the presence of the source. This is how you awaken. Awakening occurs when you can recognize the presence of the source wherever it manifests. When you can recognize the presence of the source wherever it manifests, then you can make a direct source connection and sustain it, deepening it with each subsequent experience of the presence of the source. When you can make a direct source connection, you will be able to stay connected during the transition. Staying connected is what will save your life during the stages of the transition. Deepening the direct source connection is what transforms your life into the heaven experience. Your very life depends on your ability to recognize the source and receive clear, concise, and detailed source communications. The training that I can give you through my human manifestation is the missing link in the understanding of how to preserve your source connection. Many pray at a culturally created story about the source and never make a direct source connection. Consequently, they don't get the miraculous results of the 14 prototype communities that achieved a miracle-based way of life. People often conclude that the source doesn't want them to be happy, or is just testing them. Nothing could be further from the truth. The source wants you to enjoy life as heaven. Life was created to be an experience of heaven in the manifest world. When beings did not follow the source plan for building this heaven, the hell of suffering became a part of every being's experience. What is standing in the way of establishing the heaven life was meant to be are the stories about the source that block the direct source connection. This is why I have established the Miracle School, to give you a place where you can learn about the source perspective that gives you an alternative to the cultural stories that come in between you and the source. Learning who the source is, how the source works in the world, and how you can work alongside the source is a necessary first step toward awakening and forming a direct source connection. In the Miracle School, you learn how to awaken and form a direct source connection so that you can become love in action, working with the source as a source-directed spiritual and social activist, to transform your life and world into the heaven it was meant to be. In the Miracle School, you learn how to work alongside fellow source-directed activists, known as heaven agents, throughout the universal community. Beings throughout the creation join in the work through the Soul Talk network that enables those in distant places to participate in the work to establish a love-based universal community. When you join in this work, you can get to know the members of the 14 prototype communities who pioneered the transition out of suffering into a heaven way of life and who are actively involved in helping others to follow in their footsteps to achieve the same results. Although they reside outside the earth plane, they can converse with us through the Soul Talk network, communicating in the universal language of soul talk. In this critical time of the transition, every being throughout the creation is called by the Source to join in this work to transition the creation into the Source-connected world that it needs to be if life in the creation is to survive the transition. The best way to get started on your path to awakening and establishing a direct Source connection is to take the gifted, miracle-based 5-hour video book training that will give you the Source perspective on the history of the creation, the state of the world, what it takes to have a life that is heaven, and what the transition is, and how to not only survive it, but ride the wave of transformational change into the new era of life as heaven. The Source is manifesting a final opportunity for beings to transition out of the hell of suffering into the heaven that life was meant to be. This opportunity is for those who are willing to go the distance toward becoming the love that makes life heaven. While I am here, I can help you to awaken and establish the direct Source connection that is essential to your survival and to your chance to have a life that is heaven in this lifetime and in all of your lifetimes to come. To begin building the foundation of understanding of the Source perspective that enables you to awaken to the presence of the Source so that you can establish a direct Source connection, you can start with the gifted video book training. The foundation of understanding that you build through working with this video book training is essential to your ability to enter into helping the Source mode and to do your mission work at 100% efficiency on the Helping the Source flow stream. To access this Source-created, miracle-based training, as well as the links to the Communication Center and Source Connection coaching by email, you can click this link or go to www.themiracleschool.net/VBT_SCT.